Today, we start at the very beginning, as together we dig deeper into individual verses of Scripture, along with Doug Greenwald, Senior Teaching Fellow at Preserving Bible Times. Doug, there's contextual significance everywhere you look in Scripture. What about that very first verse, in the beginning, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1?
Well, Jim, that opening verse of the Bible is pregnant with some contextual insights. For starters, the Bible is where God reveals himself for who he is and how he does things. Thus, in this opening verse, God reveals himself as the Creator. Secondly, and by implication, God also reveals himself as the initiator in this opening verse. You see, if God had not chosen to reveal himself to us in his Word, we would never know who he is. It also helps to remember that Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. As an early Hebrew, he wrote in a Hebrew literary style with a Hebrew worldview. These Hebrews are focused on behavior, deeds, and actions, not great philosophical thoughts and ideas. Thus, to a Hebrew, God is what God does. And that's a great way to read all of the Old Testament. Seldom does an Old Testament passage come out and say God is our deliverer, but we see him delivering his people time after time. Seldom does an Old Testament passage come out and declare God as our provider and our sustainer, but we see him providing and sustaining his people time after time. So, Jim, this God is what God does pattern starts in Genesis 1:1 and flows throughout the pages of the Old Testament. If you want to understand God from a Hebrew perspective, look closely at what God does.
Doug, I guess you could say the Old Testament is more of a demonstration of who God is rather than an explanation, huh? To learn more, check in with preservingbibletime.org. And we'll see you next time on Digging Deeper.